Right now, looking for ways to ease traffic concerns on the Beltline. One suggestion, opening the shoulders. And how a new proposal could impact UW tuition if and when the tuition freeze ends. Plus, what Republicans, Democrats, and the president are saying after Robert Mueller's testimony today in Washington.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
And thanks for joining us tonight. The Wisconsin DOT had the chance to hear some of your thoughts tonight on using the shoulder of the Beltline as an additional lane during peak traffic times. Now they're taking all that input and planning their next move. Jamie Perez shares what some of those plans are and what people are saying about it.
We've all driven on the Beltline and dealt with the traffic that comes with it at certain times of the day. But new plans are in the works to provide a solution.
At the department, we're excited about the possibility of utilizing something that other states have successfully used and implemented to try to alleviate recurrent congestion like this.
Some of you got the chance to voice your concerns tonight at the first of several meetings, some in favor to see where this goes.
I applaud the creativity. I want them to consider many things, and this is one of them.
Others, not so much.
There's something called induced demand in which people adapt and things end up being as congested and crowded in maybe 5 years as they were.
Brandon Lamers with the DOT says this is a means to reduce the traffic during rush hour times. This is how it would work.
You have your 3 general purpose lanes, your outside shoulder would remain as is, and then you'd have that median shoulder available for use. And it would be controlled, and the drivers would know because there's a green arrow and signage that says shoulder permitted on green arrow only.
During non-rush hours, this lane would be a shoulder. Now, the main questions people have been asking have been, well, what if there's an accident and they need to pull over? Or what about emergency vehicles that need to pass?
Camera detection as well as other types of vehicle detection are things that we'd look at to try to let our traffic management center in Milwaukee know if there's an incident ahead or if there's a disabled vehicle so that these signs will be activated ahead of time so that the drivers don't come up upon that.
The comments brought up at the meeting, including noise concerns, safety issues, environmental impacts, and more, will be addressed as they continue to refine their plans. For now, I'm Jamie Perez, News 3 Now.
And more information about those plans and how you can share your input is available on our website, channel3000.com. Alliant Energy is still going home to home today to relight gas service to about 400 customers in Baraboo and surrounding areas. The gas service was halted after a utility crew digging near the intersection of Vine and Maple Streets hit a gas line yesterday. Alliant had 30 crews from around the state working to relight pilot lights. Of the original 675 customers that lost power, 251 have had their service restored. The 700 block of East Main Street will remain closed for up to 2 months for cleanup after last Friday's fire at the Blount substation. That's according to the American Transmission Company. ATC says that closure is needed to provide staging for the equipment as well as tanks needed to handle the hazardous waste removal. Officials say South Livingston Street and South Blount Street will remain open at all times. We continue to enjoy a nice stretch of weather, but things will warm up a bit over the weekend. Meteorologist Dana Fulton now with our first alert forecast. Dana?
Of course, today was nice and sunny, but temperatures still just a little bit above average, so our warm up for the weekend kind of getting kicked off this afternoon. We hit a high of 84. Should have been in the low 80s for those afternoon highs, starting the day off pretty close to average in the upper 50s. Right now, our Doppler track fairly quiet. There were some showers that slid through earlier this evening, mainly west of Dane County, but as you can see right now, things dry for us. Skies will steadily become mostly clear overnight. We're at 71 right now in Madison, about 64 in Camp Douglas, and about 74 towards Platteville. Dew points are a little higher this evening, and we're only going to drop to the low 60s for overnight lows. Plan on a warmer and more humid day for Friday, but we'll take a closer look at what's ahead for your Friday and weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
Dana, thank you. Reactions to nearly 6 hours of testimony by former special counsel Robert Mueller are predictably mixed. President Trump calling it a great day for Republicans and for him personally. Democratic leaders say they hope the American people were really listening when Mueller testified he did not clear the president of wrongdoing. Nicole Killian on Capitol Hill with the latest.
President Trump took a victory lap Wednesday after Robert Mueller's testimony before 2 congressional committees.
This was one of the worst performances in the history of our country.
The 74-year-old former special counsel primarily kept his testimony confined to his 448-page report, but Democrats tried to get him to set the record straight.
The president has repeatedly claimed that your report found there was no obstruction and that it completely and totally exonerated him. But that is not what your report said, is it?
Correct. It is not what the report said.
And what about total exoneration? Did you actually totally exonerate the president?
No.
Under Department of Justice policy, the president could be prosecuted for obstruction of justice crimes after he leaves office, is correct?
True.
Some Republicans accused Mueller and his team of bias.
You hired a bunch of people that did not like the president.
And you must be aware by now that 6 of your lawyers donated $12,000 directly to Hillary Clinton.
I have been in this business for almost 25 years, and in those 25 years, I have not had occasion once to ask somebody about their political affiliation.
Mueller passed on some questions or asked for them to be repeated, and at times he seemed to struggle to keep up.
That went a little fast for me.
House Republicans say Mueller's testimony was nothing new and it's time to move on.
This should be the end of the chapter of this book that we put America through.
But Democrats are still wrestling with whether to pursue impeachment of the president.
We want to have the strongest possible case to make a decision as to what path we will go down.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Democrats are working through the courts to try to get the White House to cooperate with their ongoing investigations. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The House Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler of New York says his panel will file lawsuits this week to obtain more information about the Mueller report and to enforce a subpoena against former White House counsel Don McGahn. More local news now. A new Republican proposal would put a cap on how much the UW system can raise tuition if the current tuition freeze is lifted. That freeze put in place back in 2013. It'll go on for another 2 years under the state budget that Governor Tony Evers signed this month. Representative Dave Murphy is introducing the Fair Future Tuition Act, which would put in place what's called cohort tuition. Under the plan, the Board of Regents could increase tuition for each incoming class up to the Consumer Price Index.
When your student, when your young person starts in school, they will know how much their tuition is going to be while they're in school, because their tuition would be locked for 4 years. However, the university would be able to raise the tuition every year for the new class coming in.
If a student transfers or takes longer than 4 years to graduate, their tuition would go up under the bill. A spokesperson for the UW system says officials will provide more input once the bill has been introduced. 6 members of our community in Dane County have been taken to the hospital to emergency rooms in the 9 days because of opioid overdoses. That's according to an alert from the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, the first of its kind. The numbers come from the CDC, and as of now, any more than 5 suspected non-fatal overdoses seen in Dane County emergency rooms are considered more than what we'd usually expect in a week and will trigger an alert like this. That number may change as more data is gathered. Public Health Madison and Dane County put out the DHS alert today saying it can be a sign of an especially potent batch of heroin or one laced with fentanyl in the area. Public Health Supervisor Julia Olson says by tracking overdoses weekly rather than monthly or yearly, it can help them respond more quickly. A Rock County family is grieving the loss of their 23-year-old son tonight, and now they say they have a warning for anyone else looking at options for drug recovery. Mark and Joyce Strickland say their son Seth died because of a lack of regulations. The Janesville native spent the last 10 months living in what was called a sober living home in South Florida, a place intended to keep him clean and help him on his journey to sobriety. Instead, it was the place where he spent his final day before overdosing.
They assured us that this was the place for him. This is where he would find his sobriety.
The Stricklands were left with questions about the moments leading to their son's death just days ago, but when they tried to contact Ivernia Station, the sober living home he had been staying at, they found no answers. Often referred to as the Florida Shuffle, dozens of homes in Florida, in South Florida in particular, promote themselves as a way to get sober while enjoying time at the beach and in the sun. But when addicts arrive, they find themselves in cramped rooms with no supervision. For more on the Florida Shuffle, the Stricklands, and another Rock County family coping with their son's similar death, visit channel3000.com. Authorities in Missouri are searching for 2 Wisconsin brothers from Shawano County who are missing. Police say a rental car being used by Nicholas and Justin Diemel was found abandoned in a commuter parking lot in the town of Holt, Missouri. They were in the state on business. Nicholas's wife told reporters in Missouri that she last spoke to her husband on Sunday. She also says the brothers own a livestock company and were visiting farms in the state.
It's just the most helpless feeling. I just want him home.
Her Facebook post about the missing brothers now has more than 6,000 shares. The Wisconsin Department of Corrections has erased any record from its inmate locator database of the man who kidnapped Jamie Kloss and killed her parents. 22-year-old Jacob Patterson was moved to an out-of-state facility July 15th. DOC officials declined to reveal where out of concern for his safety. The agency has declined to elaborate. The Green Bay Press-Gazette reports Patterson's name has been removed from the DOC's online inmate locator, and his name doesn't even appear on the state sex offender registry either, despite being ordered to register as part of his sentence. Still to come at 10. It's been a great week of weather so far. Can we keep it going? Dana's full forecast is next. But first, how a new program in Madison can turn your leftovers into electricity. You're watching News 3 Now at 10. The Madison Streets Division has a new pilot program that transforms food scraps into electricity.
Currently, all the food scraps is collected by the Streets Division goes to the Dane County landfill. They have about 8 to 10 years of life left in that thing. So anything we can do to divert material going into that landfill, the better, because once you fill the landfill, the only thing you can do is build another one.
So how does it work? Well, the scraps will be taken to an anaerobic biodigester in Middleton, and the methane released during the decomposition process will be converted into electricity. 165 households on the city's west side have already signed up to donate scraps to the program. The trial will last 8 weeks, with the first collection happening August 2nd. Britain's new Prime Minister Boris Johnson officially takes office after meeting with Queen Elizabeth at Buckingham Palace. Before Johnson could get to work, the former London mayor met with the Queen. Johnson, the 14th Prime Minister in the Queen's 67-year reign now. He replaces Theresa May, who resigned last month after Parliament rejected her plan to leave the European Union 3 times. Johnson is hoping his brand of politics will lift the country's spirits.
People who bet against Britain are going to lose their shirts because we're going to restore trust in our democracy.
Johnson is promising to create a cabinet for modern Britain with more women and ministers from ethnic minorities. The 55-year-old Johnson will live at Downing Street with his 31-year-old girlfriend. They will be the first unmarried couple to ever live in the Prime Minister's suite. The U.S. government fining Facebook $5 billion for privacy violations. And in a separate case, the feds are tacking on another $100 million penalty for misusing personal data. Under a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission, the tech giant has agreed to take new steps to protect the private information of Facebook users. Facebook will create an independent privacy committee. The members, along with CEO Mark Zuckerberg, must report quarterly to the FTC that they are in compliance or face civil or criminal penalties.
In his own words, Facebook's CEO prefers to move fast and break things. And so for this reason, it was clear that we needed to erect speed bumps requiring both Mr. Zuckerberg and Facebook to slow down and take care with consumer privacy.
Facebook responded, writing, quote, "We have a responsibility to protect people's privacy. We already work hard to live up to this responsibility, but now we're going to get a completely new standard for our industry." Facebook also announced today the settlement of another federal investigation, this one with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The company will pay an additional $100 million after failing to reveal its privacy violations to its investors. The 2019 Heroes Bike Ride stopped by the Capitol this afternoon. Starting back in 2010, the ride started raising money to go towards supporting veterans programs at the High Ground Veterans Memorial Park in Neillsville. The ride goes more than 1,700 miles and stops at 20 places around the state, all to bring awareness to the 21 suicides by veterans each day and honor the over 1,700 lives lost in war since Vietnam. Well, it has been a beautiful stretch of summer weather. As we've said, things might start inching up in temps a bit in the coming days. Meteorologist Dana Fulton joins us now with our complete forecast. Dana?
We certainly started the week off on a really nice note, and now it's just starting to get a little more summery and July-like. Thankfully, not as bad, of course, as last week, but it is going to feel a little more humid outside over the next few days and into the weekend. Today, though, of course, really nice and pretty. Here's a nice time lapse from our Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam in Platteville. Nice colors early in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we did have some clouds build on in, some shower chances also passing through Grant County earlier in the day. Now, though, our Doppler track nice and quiet. The rain chances dying out this evening, and now our skies will steadily become mostly clear overnight for most of the northern Midwest and the plains. We do have some showers close to Green Bay right now. High pressure still in control for most of the area, but it's shifting east, and as it does move, that means our wind direction shifts. If we're on the eastern edge of the center of this high pressure, then we're getting a northern flow. Temperatures like Monday are just a little below average, and that northern breeze makes things feel just a little cooler, more comfortable outside. But as that high pressure shifts east, making room for our next system to slide in, our breeze is going to start to come from the south, and heading into tomorrow afternoon, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it'll be a little warmer outside with that southerly flow. That next system again in the northern plains, it's going to bring our rain chances for late on Sunday and into Monday, so the second half of the weekend. Right now we're at 71 in Madison, in Dubuque, and Milwaukee. So everyone's sitting in the same boat temperature-wise, as far as our dew points are concerned, in the low 60s, so a little higher than yesterday this time, but it doesn't feel too bad outside just yet. Tomorrow afternoon, though, I feel a little muggier in the afternoon. Plan on a mostly sunny sky during the day. Temps will be in the mid to low 80s for afternoon highs, so just a degree or two warmer than today. That's been the trend as we look towards the weekend. Heading into Friday, it seems like there is going to be a slight chance for showers, mainly north of Camp Douglas, stretching towards Green Bay. Doesn't seem like any of those showers are going to push south for us on Friday. And overall, it's just going to be a warm and humid day. Saturday, also mostly sunny and continued warm and a little more humid outside. With that moisture, we may see some isolated showers along the lake, it looks like right now, but overall, we're not seeing a lot of rain chances sliding in for our Saturday. A little closer look to our temperatures. We are expecting those heat index readings again to feel a little warmer than what our actual temperatures are at. We're looking at highs in the mid to low 80s, and our heat index readings are looking more mid 80s for tomorrow. But by Friday, we're going to see some areas with heat index readings climbing towards the upper 80s in the afternoon. Over the next 12 hours, we'll drop just a little bit in the low 60s for overnight lows. Light breeze. Notice our wind speed's not picking up, just switching directions, coming more southerly. Again, about 62 here in Madison to start the day tomorrow, so it's a little above average. Mostly clear, but still a pretty pleasant start to the day. In the afternoon, 84, continuing our warming trend and continuing that little increase in our humidity each day. Still planning on a mostly sunny sky for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Humid for Friday and Saturday. Our real shower chances with that next system will bring the rainfall will start to come in for us late on Sunday and stay with us overnight into Monday. We're warm in front of that system, and then the showers really cool us down. The cold front passes, and we'll watch our temperatures drop into the start of next week. It'll be a little more seasonal outside heading into Tuesday and Wednesday, but of course we've got to get through the rain and thunderstorm chances for late Sunday and Monday first. But even this afternoon or this evening with the sunshine, it just felt like summer outside. It wasn't too bad. Get a little warm, but it's fine.
I like it when you say it'll cool us down, but we only end up at a high of 80. That's perfect.
That's perfect,
Yeah,
right,
that's
right.
summertime.
We don't need to get cooled down too much.
No, I'm not ready for that yet.
No, we can wait at least
3 months.
Another
3 months.
Yeah.
All right.
We're almost done with July, and we're tomorrow's 6 months from Christmas.
Don't even. We've already said we don't want to talk about that
Okay.
stuff yet.
My
We don't
bad.
talk about that. I think it's only 5 months, isn't it, from Christmas?
Yes.
I said that, so there you go. Matt LaFleur gets ready here. This tells you what time of the year it is. Ready to run the first practice for the Packers as head coach of the team. We'll tell you what he's worried about next in sports.
Tomorrow's the first practice of Packers training camp. It's also the first with Matt LaFleur as the Packers head coach. Mike McCarthy, of course, was the head coach the last 13 seasons, but now LaFleur is in charge. He says he's ready to go. So what's his biggest concern heading into his first Packers practice?
Maybe the unknown. You know, you're going through this the first time, and you know, you try to prepare for every scenario that's going to come your way. There's just some things that are out of your control. And just from my perspective, it's always control the controllables and do whatever you can to try to be the most prepared as possible.
The Packers surprised a lot of people by releasing defensive end Mike Daniels today. When he's been on the field, he's been productive, but he missed 8 games because of injuries the last 2 seasons and was scheduled to make $8.5 million this coming season. So the Packers' salary cap gets a bit of relief by releasing Mike Daniels.
Obviously, there's choices, that you have to make. Some are more long-term, choices that you have to make looking out forward. We feel pretty good about the depth we have in our defensive line room right now. And these things are never easy, but, we wanted to make sure we had some flexibility moving into, the years ahead.
Today was also the annual Packers shareholders meeting in Lambeau Field. A few thousand fans gathered to hear about the state of the team. Profits were way down last year, a lot of reasons, including larger than expected payments for an NFL concussion settlement and paying Aaron Rodgers and all those new free agents. But Mark Murphy expects the Packers' profits to return to a more normal level next fiscal year. Brewers are off tomorrow, then they have a big series against the Chicago Cubs starting Friday night at Miller Park. This afternoon against the Cincinnati Reds, Ryan Braun is in there, and he's productive. A 421-foot homer in the first inning gets the Brewers' offense going. That's Braun's 15th homer of the season. Now, the last thing the Brewers needed was to have another starting pitcher go down. Yuli Chacin has to leave after grounding out in this at-bat of the 3rd inning. He has a strained left oblique, likely headed to the injured list. And the Brewers are trailing in the 5th, but Yasmani Grandal gets them the lead back with a 2-run single. Brewers salvage 1 game of the 3-game series, beating the Reds 5-4 this afternoon at Miller Park. And in San Francisco, the Cubs won. Javier Baez, Chris Bryant, and Albert Almora Jr. all hit homers. Final score was Cubs 4, Giants 1, so the Cubs still lead the Brewers by 2 games atop the NL Central. The Cardinals won at Pittsburgh 14-8, so they remain a half game behind the Cubs in the Central. And at Warner Park, it's Bark in the Park night. Bring your doggies to the game. And boy, a lot of Mallards fans did just that. Mallards playing a doubleheader against the Green Bay Booyah today. The Booyah, more dogs. The Booyah win this one in the afternoon, 16-6. Game 2 tonight started out with more Booyah, but the Mallards have rallied. Game 2 is in the 8th. Good boy. It's now Mallards 5, Booyah 5, and we'll be right back.
Ian's Pizza was the first retail business to open at the newly renovated Garver feed mill today, but had some issues. Ian's posted on Facebook it had to close after a very hectic lunch hour when they ran out of dough. Owner Nick Martin told the State Journal that dough takes 2 days to make. The next batch is delayed because the prep oven broke last night. Managers wrote on Facebook they were humbled by the welcome they received from the East Side community. They are meeting to regroup and improve the customer experience. Dana's back for one final check of our forecast.
So plan on some more sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures will be close to today, if not just a little warmer in the mid-80s. A little more humidity also creeping in as we head towards the weekend. And then our next opportunity for some showers and thunderstorms will come in for late Sunday night into Monday.
All right, Dana, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10. Have a great night.